Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, the tarot cards are the Art Nouveau Tarot by Matt Myers. I've had this a long time. I'm going to say close to 30 years. I don't think you can find this anymore, but maybe. That's the information. This was before website. Well, I shouldn't say it was before websites. It was definitely before websites were popular. There's the information at the top. So if you're interested, that's the information for that tarot deck. Supportive Oracle cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen Reich Baskin. Website on the back is, I believe, watkinspublishing.com. Should be right there at the bottom. Feel free to check that out if you're interested. And I also use dice. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0. For the Fool, I use a 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and then I have a 4-sided dice that I use to choose the element for that minor arcana. All these came from the dice shop, which is mathartfun.com. Hopefully you can see that website if you're interested. Hopefully it shows up on camera. mathartfun.com. Okay. With that being said, if you would like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This is James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and let's get into your read. Hello, Libra. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Libra? We like what we're seeing so far. There might be a lot of people involved with this. So, okay. So, I'm going to start off with the dice, I guess, because you've been taking a very quiet role, but a very supportive role in whatever this is. Quiet, but supportive. And while this is going on, it feels like I've been kind of disconnected from certain people. Because there's only so much I can do, is what that's how it's coming forward, kind of like, there's only so much you can do. You're only one person. You just weren't born with that cape with the red S on it on this one. So you just weren't. So jumping tall buildings in a single bound, it just isn't happening. And you seem to be very well aware of that. So this situation, you've been helping out. You've been doing everything you can. You've been doing you've been putting the most of your energy where you felt like you needed to. Kind of like, I can't be spreading myself all around here. This is where I'm needed the most. I need to concentrate here. I'm only one person. So if these other people have problems, they're going to have to find somebody else or figure it out themselves, because I'm only one person. And I can't run myself into the ground over this. So I need to center on this. I feel like that's very good. For those of you who this really hits with, I feel like it's a very healthy way to handle it. Kind of like, I can't be involved in everything. I gotta stick with what's important to me right now. Makes sense. Makes sense. Alright, so there's an energy here of maybe some guilt. If there is, I don't think it's warranted, but I'm not saying that you're wrong for feeling the way you feel. I'm just saying that, like, there's nothing for you to feel guilty about. You did the best you could, and you did it in a healthy way. Because I'm getting this 5 of Swords, kind of like, all right, that's the way I handled it. But now that I'm coming back into the fold, I'm seeing the mess that was left because I wasn't here. So now, after the fact, I'm just kind of like, maybe I could have, maybe I should have. I don't think you didn't do anything wrong. I think you did well. And some of you might even have an extra layer on that with with kind of like, well, I know that, but still it didn't work out right. It's still, even though I know I didn't do anything wrong, it could have been better. I could have extended myself a little bit more. Maybe this wouldn't be that bad. Sacrificing your health or your mental well-being for the situation it would have just balanced out. Like, I feel like you might have gotten physically sick, because sometimes that happens when we just don't slow down, and we should. And I feel like the situation you did well with. So it's just like a vote of confidence, hopefully. Whatever the situation is, it's very important to you, and you do seem to get along with it very well. The Lover's card is that also the card that sometimes talks about Gemini energy. You don't have to be dealing with anybody who's a Gemini, but I do feel like there's a lot of things going on here that you very much enjoy, you very much love. And it just sits very connected. It's very tight with you. It might be why you're kind of feeling the way you're feeling, because it does mean a lot to you. But you are just one person. You have human limitations like everybody else on this planet who's incarnated. And now that you're adding back into this situation, you're kind of looking at the long haul. Let me get back into this. Let me sink my teeth back into this situation. Let me get my feet wet again. Let me get used to it so I can be more of an ample, more productive piece of this, so I can get this situation back where it should be as soon as possible. Now the center part here, as you're getting into it, people seem to be nice to you. People seem to be welcoming you. It seems like a positive connection. You're also very realistic. The Fool card's coming in on the dice, and the Two of Pentacles reversed. You aren't realistic, but you're being optimistic. You're realistic and optimistic. The two of them in this situation are going together, being realistic and optimistic. It's kind of like I'm being optimistic about what I should be optimistic about. I'm not being a fool in the sense of like, it can all just go well. I'll just skip and sing and see what happens. What, you tell me that there's lions and tigers and bears on this trail? That's okay, I'll give it a shot. You're not going that way. You're kind of like, oh, this trail has that type of danger, but I could go this other trail up a little higher, and there's some birds, but I also have some protection from those birds. Okay, I'll do that trail. It's kind of like, I'm optimistic that I can get where I need to go. I'm also being realistic about what way I should take there. And you are bringing in some much needed help. There's some extra assistance coming in on this one with the prayer card. So there is some extra assistance as long as you're open to it. How do I want to say this? When I'm seeing this card come in, especially for this reading, there's going to be moments that you're going into this, and you're going to get those little inklings like, maybe I should this, or maybe I should that. It should not be terrifying to you, and it shouldn't be emotionally too draining, but it's almost like those moments where maybe I should go talk to this person, but maybe it's kind of like I normally wouldn't, but maybe I should. Those little inklings, or the situation I shouldn't have to do that, but if I did, it would go better. That's going to be those little inklings that are trying to help you, kind of like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have to do that, but if you did do that, you could have a better outcome. It's not about what you should or shouldn't have to do. It's about getting closer to the outcome you want, and kind of getting those nudges, kind of like, I shouldn't have to clean up the kitchen because everybody else did this stuff, but maybe if I do it, I can maybe bring that up later, and kind of like, what, we should all work out for each other. We should all look out for each other. I know that once in a while I go into the kitchen and it's a disarray, so I clean it up so that, we can keep moving forward. When other people come through, if you see something else that's not right, maybe you could go the extra mile and do that too. We all maybe can look out for each other that way. You might be able to, angle that to your benefit later. Judgment can go in your favor very well, and there's a lot of like working together. There's a lot of like paying it forward energy going on with this, which it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. But that's, again, like going into the kitchen, it's a bit of a disarray. Kind of like, I have some time, I'll clean it up and put it together, but I'm also going to bring that forward in a positive way. Hey, I had some time, so I did that. Let's all try to keep in that energy. You walk through the yard and something's not where it should, just put it where it should be. You go through the living room, things are a little bit of a disarray, just tidy it up real quick. You see something on the floor, somebody left a cracker and stepped on it, get the broom, just clean it up real quick and keep going. It doesn't have to be a big deal. We don't have to wait for the person who did it to come fix it. We see that it's wrong, maybe we'll make a note of it later. We just keep looking out for each other. This is a good energy. And I feel like you might be like starting that ball rolling, kind of like bringing that in, kind of the pay it forward, giving that influence, giving like, hey, I'm doing it, so I think the rest of us can do it too. Let's try to do that. You have a very positive energy with that. Like, let's get along. Let's try to help each other. Even if we don't think each other deserves it, let's try it anyway because we don't know what other people are going through. Let's just give it a shot. Very positive influence here. Very positive influence. We like that, right? Now, there's going to be resistance to this for one reason or another. Whatever your situation is, I feel like it'll make sense to you when it needs to. So when the resistance comes in, there's a lot of like, I feel like people are bickering, like, you know, I'll give you that if you give me this, or I just feel like we're treating it like, you know, like a trade and barter session, bickering. You know, I'll give you 5 coins if you give me 7 marbles. It just feels like that to me. This is the part where things could get really out of balance. We got to be careful with this because it may look in balance, but it actually take it out of balance. If you follow me, kind of like I give you 5 coins, you give me 7 marbles. The value might match, but it's kind of like this is gonna cause an issue. This is gonna really cause issues and stop the situation, and it's going to kind of lock it up in a way that's not going to work for you. I don't know how else to say it, but if we start doing this, you know, I did that, I'm writing it on the paper, I picked up that cracker, I wasn't the one who did it, I didn't throw it on the floor, but I did it, and like we're starting to keep track of things in that sense, like bicker. I just feel like that's gonna not, this isn't where we need to go with this. If we go that way, I feel like people are gonna go into this like instinctual rejection of like, I'm responsible for my stuff. If you're not helping me with my stuff, then I'm not helping you with your stuff. Unless I see it here on the chart where you helped me, I'm not helping you. And it's very weird because it's got the moon, the fool, and the hanged man, that rejection energy. The hanged man especially, it's kind of like, I feel like people are just disconnecting from each other and not really bonding. They're more separating than bonding, going that way. And it may seem like it could be very, people are pleasant to each other, but it's not bonding. It's more, we're pleasant, we're getting along, but we're not working together. It's very separate. I don't think this is going to work for the outcome you're looking for. Take it where you got to take it. The advice where to kind of go with it for the things to go better for you. These are going to be some saucy cards. Saucy cards, I'm telling you. Let's see what we got. This isn't a bad card. It's the Hierophant usually. The Priest is the Hierophant card in most decks. Start setting up the expectation that when you see something, you fix it. You see something, you fix it. If you saw it and you didn't fix it, then that's kind of like why didn't you just fix it? Start setting up that expectation. Not in the sense of like, I do that, you do this, you do this, you do that. Okay, so you see it, you fix it, you move on. Especially if it's something little. Like, you know, if somebody made a big mess, it's kind of like, oh my God, somebody like trashed the living room. Or maybe they trashed the kitchen. Maybe that's a better analogy. It's okay. Somebody trashed that, so you see it. It's kind of like, well, you may not have time to fix it all, but maybe scan the situation. Are there things that are going to spoil or that have spoiled that need to be dealt with real quick that we can just fix real fast? And then just make note, like, I did what I could, but I got to go on to what I'm doing now. And just kind of keep moving. Kind of like, I fixed some of it, but I'm not going to be responsible for this whole mess. I took care of what needed to be taken care of, and I kept moving. And like, if you walk through and somebody else walks through and like, well, I didn't see anything that was dire need, but, you know, I straightened up a couple little things. I took 5 minutes. I had 5 minutes. I just straightened up a couple little things and kind of set that expectation. Like, you don't have to clean the whole mess, like, especially if things are completely trashed. But like, what's first? Like, you know, is there something spoiling or something that's going to go bad? Something that's nasty? Can we just clean that real quick? And then, like, if there's nothing like that there, just put a little effort towards cleaning it and just keep going. You don't have to do the whole thing, but taking 5 minutes out of your day just to kind of like straighten it up really quick and just keep going. Now, the next cards are the saucy cards. You're going to know this right off the bat. There's going to be people here, for example, if it was the kitchen we're talking about, something's not right, it's been trashed. People might know that something's not right or hear it from other people that something's not right and avoid it and just like, oh, the kitchen's over that way. I'm not going to go over there. I'm going to, I'll walk outside. I'll walk around the house. I'm going to go out this window and walk back in that way just so I don't have to go to the kitchen. So I was like, well, if I wasn't in the kitchen, I didn't know anything, I guess. So if I didn't go in there, I'm not responsible. I don't want to help, so I'm not going to help. There's going to be some trickery like that going on here. There's going to be people avoiding things. The release is people just... I feel like what they're saying is like, don't center on the trickery. I'm getting don't even acknowledge it. You don't have to acknowledge it. That'll sort itself out. Let jungle rules let jungle rules happen with that. Let the jungle manage the jungle. It may sound brutal, but let it handle itself. You just keep going in the sense of like you're handling it the way you optimally see this working out. Just keep moving in that energy. You don't have to address the trickery. You're going to know it's going to happen. You're going to know that it is happening certain times. And people are going to balance that out in certain ways. But keep the energy going of kind of like, oh, come on, guys. I saw that there was things going on in the living room. So I put a little effort. Did anybody else put in a little effort? I hope somebody is. And like keep that energy going and kind of like, listen, I did. So I hope some of the rest of you are too. I hope I'm not doing this all by myself. People will kind of enter into this as if they kind of, I don't know if this is positive or not, but this is how it's coming through, as if they kind of owe you personally. Kind of like, oh, Libra's making the effort. Well, I want to, Libra's making the effort, so I want to show that I'm at least keeping up with Libra. So let me go into the living room and straighten some things out. Oh, wait, the kitchen? Yeah, I'll straighten a little bit out there too. Libra did it, so all right. I'm going to keep up with Libra. It does create a positive energy. It starts sorting itself out slowly but surely. I'm not saying it's the optimal way for this to work, but I feel like it's working. It does feel a little saucy. Like, it does feel a little like, oh, I don't know about this. But it's slow steps forward. It's slow steps forward, and I get like this. The slow steps will come into bigger steps. It's kind of like we got to get this old rusty wheel moving, and it's really hard to get it moving. But by you doing it this way, it does seem to start it going, and it does get going better, and it does start to clean it out a little bit. So it does seem to help. I'm not saying, I don't know. This is how it's coming through. I'm just rolling with it. There's also a lot of people involved in this situation. I don't think you want to get involved in other people's squabbles. I would advise that you don't in this situation. Because I'm getting all these people. When I put these cards down, I was just kind of like, geez, there's a lot going on, and they're all really strong cards. Even people who should get along, or you would think would get along, are not getting along. I got the Queen of Pentacles, King of Swords, King of Pentacles. And you'd think the King and Queen of Pentacles would get along, but I'm getting that they don't. It's kind of like they're both very animate, that they want to go their own direction, but they're going opposite directions, so they're working against each other. And there's an energy here that doesn't get along with either of them. They're very strong. Let them sort out their own problems. Give yourself a break with the headache. You don't need it. Just keep what you got going positively, keep that going, and keep centering on that. Let them worry about their own problems, because I feel like they're just going to drive you crazy, and it's going to be like 6 steps forward, 20 steps back, 3 steps to the right, 50 steps to the left. It's going to be like, what? How does this even make sense? Are we dancing? What is going on? They're saying don't get involved with this if you can help it. Let them sort out their own things, because this will drive you nuts. This is the advice card, is to stay out of it. Whatever the situation is, it's going to lead to that. Realize that you are very effective in certain things. Other things are just not for you. I feel like you know that. You know that. Other things are not for you. If you try to get involved and try to help that, I feel like you become a pawn. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't need that. The advice is to let that piece of this situation monitor itself. Stay where you're effective. Keep working where you're effective. If those people want to be an issue for each other, happy birthday with that then, y'all. Because I wouldn't do it. It's up to you what you feel is right, clearly. Are we good? Alright, I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.